Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTest.com, and today I am on the Windy SR28 CC. This is a functional center console that serves as a great day boat, a casual overnighter, and a yacht tender because of the quality of its fit and finish and build. For starters, the yacht quality features that make this such an ideal yacht tender has to do with a lot of the strength of build, things that you can't see, but you can feel it. I mean, as I pound on this, it's a solid boat all the way through. There's no hollow core to this. It's just strength and integrity. Look at this rub rail. You can lay that up against pretty much anything. That's much bigger than the average rub rail, to be sure. Look at the cleats. All the cleats are oversized. Or look at the support for the hardtop and for the table. How beefy those are. The supports continue up where they're wrapped in leather. Obviously, there's a lot of comfort going on this boat, and I would probably say those features start right here with a 43-inch wide bench seat at the stern. Table just ahead, it's expandable. There's wood inlay surrounded by laminate over a wood core. In the closed position, beverage holders, and an exposed grab rail, leather wrapped. Underneath the seat is refrigeration. The seat's reversible, so it can be aft facing, watching the action off the stern for water sports. There's a tow bar going over the engines. We can get either these twin 200 horsepower Yamahas or a single 300 horsepower. There's a platform just ahead, making it convenient to walk back and forth ahead of the engines, and it flips out of the way when we want to tilt the engines up. And here's more of that yacht quality that we were talking about earlier. Look at these heavy-duty stainless supports holding on to this cargo storage. Take it out of the way, now we have access to the bilge area, and look at how everything is finished inside. Heavy-duty bronze fittings, everything double clamped, and there's Jubilee clips on the edges of the clamps to protect you from the sharp edges. Just behind, there's a freshwater shower and connectivity for the 30-amp shore power connection. This storage repeated to the opposite side, of course. I appreciate the convenient cargo net storage to both sides of the bulwarks, and these come up 28 inches high. How's that for safety? A hatch underneath the table opens to expose the engine start batteries, the house batteries, the battery charger, the remote battery switches just forward. Notice there's another bronze through-hole fitting with double clamps and clips at the end of the clamps, and a bilge pump is right alongside. Notice we can even rotate the forward seats around to join the crowd at the table. And all this is under the protection of the canvas T-top, 6 feet 11 inches off the deck. The two bucket seats not only spin around, they adjust fore and aft. Each includes an individual flip-up bolster, and notice that they're all custom upholstered. The helm consists of a flush-mounted Garmin display, Yamaha display right alongside, and trim tabs are mounted to the opposite side, well forward and within reach of the throttles as they come forward. Bow thruster control, remote control for the screen just above. That seems a little redundant in that spot there, but okay. Electrical switches just below, and then the Fusion stereo. Steering wheel is mounted to a tilt base. Electronic start stops right alongside. Beefy grab handle both below and above, which makes up the stainless frame for the windshield. Notice that there's a cutout to facilitate this being used as a grab rail. Nice touch there. Down below, there's an angled footrest. We have side deck access to both sides, being a symmetrical layout. 12 inches wide, bulwarks come up 17, and rails top out at 25. Seating starts with a 39-inch forward-facing bench seat, and then U-shaped seating just ahead, wrapping around a solid wood table on a high-low pedestal. This can be lowered. We can put a filler cushion in and turn this area into a sun pad. It's surrounded by rails that come up 12 inches from the seat base. Continuing forward, the rails are split to facilitate bow inboarding. 9-inch cleats are to both sides, along with the nav lights. Beverage holders are just behind a hatch that opens up to reveal the ground tackle, which consists of a windlass, a through-the-stem anchor roller, all-chain rode.
Now here's something we rarely see, a horizontal windlass instead of the ubiquitous vertical ones. I like it because the chain rolls over the teeth and drops straight down rather than being on the side and then having to make a 90-degree turn to get below. Also, there's plenty of room in the locker to sort out tangles if you get them.
Controls for the windlass are to both sides of the hatch. The turn and lock latches seen throughout this boat are all flush, and you have to get used to being able to lift them and turn them in the right direction. I'd rather see lift and lock latches. For deck hardware, there's water to one side, a waste pump out, and fuel fill to the other, but none of them are labeled. I'd really like to see that labeled. I know that when I take this off, it's water because it says so right there, but I could easily see somebody filling this with fuel.
Having said that, now let me tell you what I do like about them. First, you don't have to be hunting around for the two-pronged key to open the conventional filler top, and it's easy to unscrew by hand. Second, there's a keeper lanyard on the cap to prevent it from falling overboard.
As for overnight accommodations, well, that's accessed from a sliding hatch to the port side of the helm. The cabin, nice for the casual overnights. There's a V-berth that measures 86 inches from front to rear. There are containers to both sides for putting cell phones, things like that, and conveniently enough, they have 110 outlets plus USB outlets. Just behind, two hatches. One of these can be optioned out for a sink, otherwise it remains as storage. And then there's a head right alongside. Headroom in this location, we're looking at 4 feet 7 inches right at the entrance. Over the berth, it varies from 3 feet 2 inches to 2 feet 6 inches to 1 foot 4 inch. Now there really isn't a need to opt for the sink right here because there is another one inside the head compartment. Overhead clearance is 4 feet 8 inches, which gives us 3 feet 3 inches of sitting headroom.
The Windy SR28 CC has a length overall of 27 feet 8 inches, a beam of 8 feet 2 inches, and a draft of 3 feet 3 inches. With an empty weight of 6,614 pounds, full fuel, and 3 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 7,695 pounds. With a pair of 200 horsepower Yamaha F200s turning 14 by 19 props and run up to 5,500 RPM, our speed topped out at 42.2 knots. During testing at the Windy factory with 18 pitch props, their speed topped out at 44 knots. We measured best cruise at 3,500 RPM and 26.7 knots. At that speed, the 12.5 gallon per hour fuel burn worked out to be 2.1 nautical miles per gallon and a range of 153.2 nautical miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 79.25 gallon total fuel capacity. In acceleration tests, we reached planing speed in an average 2.9 seconds, cruised through 20 miles per hour in 4.9, and 30 in 8.3 seconds.
It's a fun boat to drive. We had a little windblown chop going through our test area in the Intracoastal Waterway, so not a lot to contend with, but it was fun driving through it. She just skips right along from one wave to the next, cuts through it kind of nicely. A little bit bouncy, but that was to be expected. It's a boat and they float, so going over the waves like that, we did bounce across the waves. Heels over quite hard if you put it into a power turn. Some guests that aren't used to boats might find that a little bit uncomfortable. I didn't. I thought it was kind of cool. I did notice that she's sensitive to trim. A little bit goes a long way, so just touch on the trim tabs. And for that matter, the only time I needed the trim tabs was to level the boat out for an uneven distribution of weight. That's it. Other than that, nice, straight and true. Good bow rise upon acceleration, so don't be shy about hitting the throttle. Get her up on plane and get that bow down again. Aside from being a fun boat to drive, I really like the layout because it's a comfortable boat to be on and spend the day on. Also, the accommodations are nice, so you can do some casual overnighting, but mostly it's the fit and finish. It's a yacht quality boat that makes it ideal for a tender in addition to being a great family boat. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation of the Windy SR28 CC. For BoatTest.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.